Zwolle. Een Engels onderrondje op het podium zo dadelijk. Allereerst de man met de minste ervaring van de twee. Hij gaat zijn 6e Eurotour toernooi spelen, maar maakt zijn debuut op de Dutch Darts Masters. De nummer 74 van de wereldranglijst, Woodhouse. En dan zijn tegenstander, een man met heel veel ervaring, heel vaak al te gast geweest in Nederland. In 2014 finalist van deze Dutch Darts Masters. 15 keer stond hij in de finale van een major. Hij is de World Master van 2004. Dames en heren, the King, Mervyn King! En we zijn op het podium ook van scheidsrechter gewisseld. De man die vanmiddag alleen part-time heeft gewerkt. Geef hem hartelijk applaus. De papi, George Noble.
Welcome back to Zwolle, third match of the evening session, day one of the Dutch Darts Masters 2019 here at the IJsselhalle. And a match that features a man who is not only a European Tour champion of yesteryear, but a man who made the final of this tournament in 2014. Although on that occasion Mervyn King was on the receiving end of a 6-1 defeat by Michael van Gerwen in his opening match of this year's European Tour. So Mervyn King beaten on that occasion. Michael van Gerwen, of course, a 5-time defending champion in this tournament. He'll arrive here tomorrow full of beans after his exploits at the O2 Arena on Thursday night as well. Mervyn King up against a young man in the shape of Luke Woodhouse. I say a young man, he's actually 30 years old these days, but a man who's making his first appearance on the European Tour this year. Played in fits and starts on the Euro circuit last year, picking up just £3,000 in ranking money on the European stage. And Luke Woodhouse, a player with perhaps, well, something to prove, and perhaps a man looking to make up for lost time as well. So Mervyn King looking to get his campaign off to a flyer, and I'm absolutely thrilled to say that we've had a change of personnel in the commentary box as well. And alongside me for the first time in ages.
First leg, Mervyn to throw first. Game on.
I think we're talking maybe 2 or 3 years now. Rod Harrington back alongside me. Rod, welcome back.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, it's nice to be here. I can't believe I am actually in the comms box when it's the sun's shining outside. Normally I'm retired and fishing or playing golf nowadays. And,
easy one.
Well, the golf's not going too well, so that's why I'm here. No, it's nice to come back and see what goes on the European Tour. It's been a good few years since we put these together, and all the different players and the quality of the players that are coming through now. You talked about Mervyn King. There's no person with more experience than Mervyn King, been on that big stage, been in finals and everything. But these young men like Luke Woodhouse, and say at 30 he's not actually that young, but they're new to the game, yeah. And they don't show you any respect on that stage. They're just going to attack you, which I love to see, because the system now, I know I bang on about it, we've got the JDC with Steve Brown now, and then we have the Development Tour, the Challenge Tour, the Pro Tour, and then you've got 100. Europeans. It's just a perfect stepping stone now.
Well, I thought we had a really good example of all that earlier today when we had that match with Harry Ward and Danny Noppert. Harry Ward, a man who's, 21 years old, 22 years
92.
old, making his first appearance in Europe for 3 years, but a first-time winner on the PDC Tour 4 months after coming over, winning his tour card as well. I mean, what a story that is.
120.
And a good example of that success of this tiered system that's in place. And Danny Noppert, a man who's also only just come over to the PDC circuit from the BDO a couple of years ago.
100.
And that transition has been smooth 60. As silk as well.
Yes, I agree. Well, his first leg, Mervyn chucked his dart off the board, which could have caused him a little bit of problem, which it doesn't. So the first leg to Mervyn King.
To throw first.
Always nice to get that first leg on the board, and when you pin that double at its first dart, you walk away and you give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back, thinking, right, now I can move forward.
99.
And the greatest thing about throwing first, Rob, is that, you know, King wins the first leg. If he can break his opponent here, then hold throw, he's 3-0 up. And he's only had to break once. And a race to 6, you have put immense pressure on your opponent.
Well, Mervyn King is a man who played in all 13 European Tour events last year. He was an ever-present. He actually even did a stint in the commentary box as well. He did more work on the European Tour than anybody else last year. But he has missed a couple of Euro Tour events this year. Didn't qualify for the German Darts Grand Prix. Didn't qualify for Saarbrücken either. And he has suffered a couple of early exits recently too. So he also has something to prove, perhaps.
That's a great time to hit a 180, isn't it? You know, I mean, Mervyn looks like he's going to reply very well there.
131.
It's all about, you know, hitting exceptional scores at crucial times. Sometimes you just put the pressure on your opponent when all of a sudden he comes to the board. You know, he walks away from the board 100 up. You whack in a 180, and all of a sudden, oh, well, I'm 80 behind now. Psychologically, it's a big thing.
Luke corner 180.
Well, King is ready to pounce in case Luke Woodhouse does not take out this 118. He's now looking at 98. And Mervyn King does have the opportunity to break.
58.
And this is where Mervyn can be deadly. He seems to just be, you know, ticking over fairly steadily and then suddenly makes his move.
Well, he's gone the old-fashioned way, as I call it. That leaves the bullseye, and he's got a good guide for that bullseye as well. 69. Look at that dart on the right-hand side, perfect to just line it in. 60. But Luke now, he's going to get hopefully 2 darts at a double. Yes, he will now. He's having to move to the side because you can see the dart kicks up, and it's the flight that masks that double.
40.
Oh, do you know, after that first dart at double top sat perfectly, but you cannot let someone like King come back to the board to break your throw.
Especially when he's looking at 88 now, because in that corner of the board, Mervyn King is one of the best in the business.
And all of a sudden, Luke's walked away to the table thinking, I can't believe I've had 2 darts at a double. And sometimes, and it's hard for even experienced players to get that out of your mind. But what Mervyn King will be thinking now, right, let me hammer a 12 darter or even a 15 darter in here to get 3-0 up. Then he's got total control.
Because in a first to 6 race, a 2-0 lead, an early break, okay, it's early doors, but it can prove psychologically damaging when you are chasing from the word go.
Well, over this short distance, you know, any of these players can beat you. I mean, they can even beat Michael van Gerwen, but like the Premier League last night, when you're moving it up to best of 19, you know, best of 21, different story. You've got to have the extra bit of consistency. And of course, Michael walked away with that, as you said earlier, the Premier League, that's his 5th title. And I don't know, he's starting to dominate like Phil Taylor did, especially in the 2000s. And a few of the boys have got to step it up.
I think so.
No good talking about it. You know, let us do the talking, let them do the playing.
135.
I did Merv a slight disservice, actually. I said he lost 6-1 to Van Gerwen in the final here 5 years ago, or the final of this tournament 5 years ago. It was actually 6-4, so 78. I apologise, Merv.
I'm surprised that if he doesn't pull you on that later when someone tells him.
100.
He did lose 6-1 to Van Gerwen earlier this year, though, on the European Tour. Maybe that's where I was getting the numbers mixed up. That was in Leverkusen.
Do you know, Luke Woodhouse got a lovely throw.
You know,
it's a basic throw, but it's very smooth. And if he can just work on that, a bit more experience. But here we go, 32 for Mervyn King. It's the first time he's missed the double. He's just moved over to the far exit.
A long way over. And it's unlucky there. I think it was on target, but it bounced out anyway. Points on the floor, but he will return because Woodhouse is on 184. Woodhouse just looks to be a little bit, I was going to say hot under the collar, but he's got no collar, but he seems to be fidgeting with his shirt as though he's maybe just feeling the heat a little bit. It is quite warm on stage, not a big crowd as you can see, but on stage under the lights it is very warm this evening. It's a warm day outside as well. King does find double 16.
But you know what, I'll give you a little bit of insight here, Rob.
Game on.
He's got a zip that goes up there. Now, this may sound a little bit silly, but hairs on your chest get caught in that zip when you move. And that's an irritation that you don't need. And the only reason I know this because a certain person a few years ago told me that. And he went, I'll never wear a thing that's got a zip on it ever again. I'm not saying, see, he's rubbing it there.
Yeah.
Which, a silly thing, but the last thing you want is to, especially when you're 3-0 down, is have an irritation, whatever it is. You've got to be totally focused.
Yeah. It's an extra thing to worry about when you've got plenty to contemplate anyway on stage.
100.
It's hard enough to keep your concentration anyway. You know, the old demons come in. What am I doing? I've missed darts of double in the first leg. And
135.
Well, the big objective for Luke Woodhouse this year is to finish inside the top 64. He secured his tour card at the start of last year, so he's got that 2-year expiry at the end of this year. He's currently 74 in the order of merit, so he's got work to do to clamber his way up the world rankings into that top 64.
Yes, going back to Q School.
161.
No, I go there every year, and that's hard work.
Well, it's getting harder. I mean,
yeah, oh, absolutely.
And Luke will be well aware of that. But
he's done the right thing here, Rob. Sorry to interrupt. You know, he didn't even contemplate going for the bullseye route, which is exactly the right way. He needs to get a leg on the board. Although he missed the big number.
48.
Yeah, so he's lost himself one opportunity
27.
at a double, but King is on 152. You wouldn't put it past him if he did get the chance. 8-8 for Woodhouse here. And he has got the leg on the board. It's a hold of throw, but that might just settle him down.
Yeah, nice little 15-dart leg with the throw. You're not going to lose too many legs if you're going to do that with the throw.
60.
But he needs to break Mervyn King here. He can't afford Mervyn to start hold on to his throw again.
I think Woodhouse will be treating this weekend as just an opportunity to maybe benefit from a change of scene as well, because, as I said, he's not played in the European Tour this year, and on the Pro Tour
26.
he's suffered. Well, it's been a similar story to last year. 12 first-round exits out of 22 last year. Pretty similar percentage this time around as well.
140.
And he knows that if he can put together a good run in Europe, it could well just be the spur he needs to then take that form back with him to the domestic scene as well.
Sometimes, I mean, I tell all the youngsters that come, even tell my own son that, you know, that you're not going to always keep missing doubles. Something's going to happen that's going to give that little spark of confidence, and it ups your game. It may only be 3% you're up your game, but that can be the difference. It may be getting your first dart in the right position more regular to find the treble from there, and like I say, then you get an extra dart at a double because you've hit an extra treble in that leg. And it's all relevant to the whole game, and you know, your position of winning and then jumping up the rankings a little bit. Then you get more confidence from that, and the spiral goes up instead of plummeting downwards. Well, a bit like mine did, really, Rob. No, nice 180 there from Woodhouse. Just giving him the outside chance here.
Absolutely. Mervyn King, well, he's not going to take this 1-2-1 out now after that first dart.
83.
So this would be a breaker throw for Woodhouse.
Oh, is he going to go for the 25 or straight for the 57? He's going for the 25. He's missed that. Let's hit a 12.
So just having to recalibrate here. 83 away, so he's looking at treble 17. That would have left double 16, but he's missed that as well. And Mervyn King's got away with that.
Mervyn, you require 38.
Straight at it, or two. Is he going to go 6? Yeah, he's going 6. Yeah, that's Mervyn King all over. Sensible, playing the percentage route. Oh, wow.
22.
A long way inside with that second opportunity.
Yeah.
Whether that was an issue with the grip, I'm not totally sure.
Well, Luke's not going to get a better opportunity to break the Mervyn King throw. Just take a big deep breath.
So 2 bites at tops for Woodhouse. A lot of pressure on that final dart, but he handled it really well because he knew Mervyn King was waiting to pounce on double 8, and Woodhouse has got the break back, and all of a sudden there's a very different emphasis on this match now, a different feel.
Well, the first dart at double top was perfect. If you're going to miss, that's where you go and put it in. It gives you the line and length, and you've got that big black flight that you know if I just over pitch, I'm going to hit that and it's going to skid down.
96.
He picked it off lovely and clean.
Winner of this, by the way, will face Daryl Gurney in the second round tomorrow. Daryl Gurney
100.
making his way here after his good work in the Premier League this season, culminating in that semi-final defeat last night.
Yeah, it's the closest Premier League I think we've ever had, and it as
120.
pundits, it was the hardest to predict. I mean, week in, week out, you're thinking, oh yeah, right, this is going to happen, and the complete opposite. But
a lot of drawn matches as well.
There
this
was,
year.
yeah. But for me,
76.
Daryl Gurney's game is all about hitting 180s, and he's in a lot of matches. He's just not hitting. Well, a couple of matches he didn't hit any. He's just got to start finding those big scores.
60.
Well, if it's 180s he wanted today, the match to have joined us for would have been the one involving Roby John Rodriguez and Mike De Decker. I think they served up 10 in total, 6 of them for Roby John, who averaged, well, it was the 4th highest first round average on the European Tour. Phenomenal display by the young Austrian.
96. Luke 129.
Well, great chance here for Luke. He may get 6 darts from here, so he just wants to. 60 leaves in the bullseye now. Now it's a bullseye or the treble 18. The bullseye, the 25, if he hits that, may give him 2 darts of the double when he returns.
99. Moving you
Oh,
130.
no, he miscounted, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's been in that situation before, and he just looked to take a long time about.
I think he miscounted.
Yeah, deciding what to do. No miscounting there.
No, he took that out of the equation, so it don't matter if Luke Woodhouse miscounted or not. Mervyn King took out the 130, and that was to break the throw again. So he's 4-2 up.
Yeah, that's
Again, Mervyn to throw first.
sometimes typical of Mervyn King. Just when Luke Woodhouse would have thought, OK, I'm back on track, I've got the break back, and suddenly Merv just kills him once again with a break back of his own with a 130 checkout. Very nicely done
57.
indeed. Both these players came through 2 rounds of qualifying. Luke Woodhouse beat Corey Cadby and Gavin Carlin 6-3. Gavin Carlin was a recent participant on the Euro Tour. Cadby yet to qualify for one of these.
45.
There are those who suggest his time will come sooner rather than later, but so far he's drawn a blank. Merv overcame Stephen Burton
83.
and Kevin Burness. Stephen Burton doing well on the Challenge Tour this year. He had a good UK Open this year as well, did Burton.
140. 60.
Well, a chance here for Woodhouse to get this throw back. He'll get the leg back, he's got the throw.
I could do with at least one treble.
58.
Yeah,
the
missed
problem-
opportunity there.
Yeah, it is. The problem with players that have their darts stick up, which is both these players, if you're going to miss the treble, it's got to be just above, as that was. I mean, that was the perfect first dart from Mervyn King. And you see that with so many players, if the first dart's in perfect position, you know that they're going to hit at least one more treble. And Mervyn King, all of a sudden, you know, he's lost the throw in the leg. Now he's got the throw back just in 3 darts.
And he's in a good position in this leg as well. Treble 17 leaves the bullseye, and that is sublime from Mervyn King. That really is very eye-catching indeed. Just another hammer blow for Luke Woodhouse, and you feel, well, it's going to take one heck of a fight back now to get back into this.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, 130, then a 1-2-1 to go 5-2 up. I mean, that is a killer.
125.
But Luke, what he's got to do is just, you know, one throw at a time, one leg at a time. It's very hard to do, but you must never think that oh well, I can't win from here, because if you then you won't.
140.
But while you keep what you got to do, well, I'll hold me throw and I'll break him and then hold, and then all of a sudden we're 5-all.
Yeah.
It's only one. He's only one break away from being 5-all and going to a decider.
100.
Yeah, he's just got to break it down into bite-sized chunks, I suppose, here, Luke Woodhouse. But with the break,
140.
he would effectively need to break again if we were to go to a decider as well. So that's the other downside. But the pressure would be on then, Mervyn King, if we were to get that far.
60.
And
But
just,
you'd take whatever happens. If you get it back to 5-all, you don't care. You just, you know, you're in that position. But Luke, you know, there was a chance there, and he's just hit 3 bare 20s.
100.
And the body language, the response, he's dropped something on the floor there as well, one of his.
One of them white fivers, I reckon. No, he's not old enough for them. Only I've got white fivers.
Yeah, first start again has let him down badly there.
Yeah, that's pressure for you, Rob. That's a little bit of tightness in the arm.
You require 121.
He's still a young man, still got a lot to learn. Oh no, not again, man.
Surely
3
not
on the
there.
trot.
Bullseye.
We call that a wide in cricket.
You require 139.
Well, King will be hopeful that Woodhouse will not take out this 139, and he won't. And so he will return looking at double 18 for a 6-2 win to set up this meeting with Gurney tomorrow.
36.
And this would be for a 13-dart break of throw as well, maybe even a 14-dart break. That's exactly what it is. Fairly comfortable in the end for Mervyn King. He got the early break to take control. He led 3-0, and even though Woodhouse did manage to break back, Mervyn King was quickly back into his stride as well with that 130 checkout. The 1-2-1 was equally devastating. And Mervyn King goes through to the second round to face Daryl Gurney here at the Dutch Darts Masters. On the way, we have, well, 5 more matches to come for you, starting with Ross Smith and Christoph Ratajski.
Mervyn, this is your 65th Euro Tour tournament you're playing in. Have you got any idea how many matches you've played?
No, absolutely none. You make me feel really old.
Yeah, this was your 140th match. But where do you keep the motivation to keep this going?
I love darts, so, you know, it's in my blood. So when Mervyn's got to play darts, Merv tries to play darts, and when it happens, and it's great.
A lot of players, they fly over here. Some of them drive over here by car. You came in a special way this time, didn't you?
Well, I wouldn't call it a special way. I come on my motorcycle. Yeah, I bought a new motorcycle on Wednesday and used it to get here, and that was great.
It's a nice drive, was it?
Yeah, definitely. It was fantastic.
And I'll tell you something, I'll tell the people now, every time you come on a motorcycle, you always play well because you're relaxed. So I'm expecting things from you. Morgen gaan we hem terugzien, dames en heren. Mervyn King!